I'm Milan. I spent over 20 years in payroll, including time at Sage, training clients and helping business get the most from Sage 300 payroll. And with a background in accounting and engineering on how to simplify complex processes. So today I'm going to show you how to create an ACB file, also how to interface with your bank step by step. I hope you enjoy this. Hope it's going to help you. So hold on and let's get going. Okay, firstly, of course, we want to go into the system. So in the system, quickly see what I can get out for us. So on the system, just open the screen a little bit. Make it a little bit easier for us. Okay, so hopefully that's a little bit better for us. If we go onto the system, I suppose there's a couple of things we need to do. On the employee side, let's start with employee. On the employee side, if we're on the employee, that's very important, of course. If you're on the employee, you go to employee details, you need to find the place where to put the banking details. So assuming the system is set up that way, we can go to not the employee side basically, but the basic information tab at the top. And then if we go to detail, we want to go to bank details. And there we go, there's the bank details. So if you're going to go new, let's just go about this. If you go new, yes, you need to have the bank details in here. You have to have the bank details in there. You have to have the account. Please make it proper. With most ACB files these days, the banks, they're quite finicky. If you don't have this properly set up, it's going to bounce back to you. May not pay the wrong person, but will definitely bounce and make your life a bit difficult. Some of the banks, select the right bank on the system. And with most banks, you can use Universal. I think some banks, like Time Banks, you actually these days have to select the branch, but let's go Universal. And yes, I suppose that's the most important thing initially, to have bank details of the individually set up properly. Now, if that's set up properly, yes, there's a couple of other things as well. For example, if we're going to go to pay sub definition, yes, the system the system will need to be set up properly that the person's linked to ACB payment run definition. So this person is linked to that. So that was pay sub definition. If you want to cross-check that, typically you only have one. So let's make it a bit of a higher grade. If you want to see where is that payment run definition coming from, on a company management payments, if you just want to really check your system, this one is making it very complicated. For many of us, you'll have only one payment run. Okay, so let's ignore the other ones, the cash ones and the beneficiaries. Often you might only have one. So if you want to see how it's set up, I'm going to backtrack a little bit again. So on the employee, you want to set it up. And on the company side, you want to go company management. You want to go to payments. And you want to check, double click, see what's going on there. Now, right at the top, I suppose that might be the trick. Right at the top, you'll see there's a defined bank file allowed. That's if it's set up for ACB. So this one's set up for ACB because we're looking at the ACB today. Okay, so this one is set up for ACB. And to change the file layout, so if we know how to link the employee, but to change the file layout to your company's banking details, you simply do it here. And in the Sage 300 system, most bank systems, link templates will be there already. You link it and you fill in the details. Really as simple as that. Yes, of course, you might want to have your bank ready as well. So if you, for example, change to, I don't know, Citibank, it might be that there's a couple of details that you need to get from the bank, and maybe the first time around you also want the bank to help with that. But for now, we're not going to complicate it too much. Let's say it's ABSA integrator, and there's actually nothing to that. I think some of the standard bank layouts are also quite straightforward. I think this may be the best EFTs. You can see there's nothing much to that. Now with the top one, let's just do that one. You can see there's a default recipient reference. There's nothing to that either. Just a number, nothing to that. But that's where you can have your bank on standby if you're worried about these things. The default export location, that's a nice one. I'm going to do mine just to desktop, but that can be any directory of your choice. And it's quite nice that it's even defaulting a file name for us. So the file name for us, I prefer the file name to default to that. I just want to check if you can see that on your side. Sorry if you didn't see that on your side. On this side, this is where I try to show you. Sorry about that. Where you go to your company management, you go to your payments, you select your payment run, and on the payment run you select define file layout. That's the one. Sorry, but that's the screen you missed previously. And on this one, this is the one you want to change the bank of your choice. Well, not your choice, the bank of your company. Change it to, in my case, I'm going to change it to desktop. Of course, that can be a shared file folder as well. And there's even a file name there as well associated with that. So that's going to work, and we save it. Okay. Now from there, if we want to also now export it, because there's the first thing we did, of course, we looked at the employee itself. The employee itself, we already know where to put that. We go to employee details, we get the person's banking details in there, and then if we need to manage it on the company side, in other words, if your bank have changed on the company side, you can go to company management, you can go to payments, and you can go to that export details. So that's the second thing. And then to actually run the file, we also go to payments, we go to your ACB that was set up, the defined bank file layout, and there at the bottom you would typically see, not as complicated as mine, yours might be nice and easy, one line, there's salaries, you click on include employees. If you're very observant, you will see this blocky amount included payment run. If you're very observant, you'll see that will have a total in there now. And then generally you just almost follow the steps. You click on the process, it will run. In my case, it's now, there's a screen showing, it's complaining a little bit because I'm not in the middle of the month. But if you're towards the end of the month, you might proceed without setting the capture status, or you might want to stop further entry. But that's something for another day. In my case, I'm not going to change anything. I'm just going to click on OK. There's my screen popping up again with some details. So in this case, just going to backtrack again. Sorry about that. I'm going to say include employees and process. There's the screen. I'm just going to click on OK for now. The default, yay, we can even change it, but the default now, I'm happy with the desktop. Sort sequence, I'm not dealing with that too much, and we click on process. After you click on process, they're going to be kind enough to, the developers, they're going to be kind enough to show you where the file was saved, but we know it's on the desktop. And there's the file ABSA integrated, the ACB file. And that's the way that has to find its way to whoever's going to import the file onto the banking system. I'm not going to do the banking side, but that's the one that needs to be imported on the banking side, the actual file. And if we close this one, they're going to also, there's going to be also a preview. There we go. There's a preview of a file, and this can probably help us to reconcile a bit as well. So this might be also a report we might export to PDF and send to the person who's importing. It might be a finance person, it might be us. So between the file, the report, we've got it. And of course, remember before this, we have a lot of other reports as well. Other reports that can help us to reconcile. I hope that was useful. So today we looked at 3 things. I showed you on the employee itself where to link the employee to their correct banking details. I showed you a little bit more technical on the payment side, how you can look at the templates for the different banks, the ABSAs, the standard banks, etc. And thirdly, I showed you how to export. I've enjoyed that. I really hope it was of use for you. Please hit the like and subscribe buttons. That's important to me to keep going. And yes, comments to request more content. Enjoy.